Both sons had an incredible sense of entitlement. That was the problem. The younger son felt he was entitled because he was a son. The older son felt entitled because he had served so faithfully. Look, I've already told you, I agree with the older son. I'm in his camp. He was wronged. I feel that way because I've spent a lot of time in a lot of scenarios being the older son. I mean, how can somebody as faithful as me have to deal with this much pain and adversity? Why can't I catch a break? When is it going to be my day to be celebrated and have a welcome home like a king? Because unlike all these other people, I actually deserve it. Right? We've all felt that way. And that's the same entitlement that the younger son felt. The only difference is we agree with the older son's motivation. We disagree with the younger son's. But it's the context that matters. And this parable is told in a context. This parable was addressed to the Pharisees who were angry about who Jesus was surrounded by, all these deplorable people. We don't want them. Outcasts, rejects, broken people. He should know better than this. The Pharisees could not understand how some upstanding person like Jesus could be surrounded by such garbage as these people. If Jesus was the Messiah, how could he not recognize us, the Pharisees? We're the faithful ones. We're obviously so much better than these guys. And that is why the parable ends the way it does. We never find out what the older son did. At the end of the parable, he was still standing in the field when the parable closed. The challenge Jesus is giving the Pharisees is he wants to know, guys, what's more important? What's more important to you? Is it more important that people who don't measure up in your eyes are behind you in line? Or is it more important that everyone is welcome at the celebration? Which one's more important? Is it more important that your contributions are identified and rewarded? Or is it more important that people who find themselves in danger, maybe even danger of their own making, are now safe from the threat? What's more important? Is it more important that God recognize you guys as his special follower? Or is it more important that we serve a God who's willing to recognize everyone? What is more important? And I will be the first to admit here this morning, because I see it just as clearly as you do. We live in a world where the vast majority of the people out there are the younger son. Everyone is a spoiled, self-absorbed, self-worshiping, self-centered child who's only in it for what they can get. They go into every situation looking to take all they can and give nothing back. That's the world we live in, and I don't like it either. See, not only are churches hurting right now, but I can tell you, many service organizations in the world like Rotary and Kiwanis and all these clubs out there, they're all hurting because no one in the world sees the value of serving them anymore. We have completely lost what it means to serve the world, whether it be in the name of the Lord or really any other reason. It's a big change we've experienced. 25 years ago, when I started doing this pastor thing, we pastors were seen as community organizers. Our job was to go into a church and lead the congregation into mission to change the world. That's what we were meant to do. But along the way, society has lost that. We've lost the desire to make an impact on the world. And you want to know why? We lost that desire because of too many people like the younger son in this parable. People who take a lot and give little, if anything. All people like that do is cost the rest of us, because they take so much, give so little. And anyone out there who has the gift of a servant heart ends up burning out very quickly. Does that not describe the older son in this parable? He's burned out by the spoiled younger brother. And he's burned out by the spineless father who won't tell him no. But let me get to the scariest part of this parable. I haven't gotten to the frightening part yet. Well, neither the younger son nor the father gives the older son anywhere near the level of respect he deserves. Both the younger son and the father are utterly dependent on him. Without the older son, the father, and the other younger brother, they had nothing to return to. It's up to the sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice. The sacrifice of the older son to make sure that the father and the younger brother have a place to return to, even though neither of them deserve it. That's why he's out in the field working when the party actually starts.